talk a lot on Fully Charged about how when it comes to electric vehicles, it's all about choosing the right vehicle for you. It's not about the biggest, the fastest or the longest range car, and the same applies to two wheels as it does to four. It's not about the biggest, fastest motorbike you can get. Sometimes something at the other end of the scale might be what you need. This is Fully Charged. This is the Niu GTS-Pro scooter, over 500,000, I think. In fact, latest is 650,000 of these sold worldwide. A lot of that is in China because it is a Chinese company. So it has become, not only because of how it's made and the battery that it contains, because the number sold, it is very much the Tesla of scooters. And the scooter itself, well, physically it's a steel frame with plastic fairings or built on that. And then from the point of view of the actual stats, this is the top of the range one. This will do about 125, 130 kilometers in range, which is about 80 miles. Its top speed is 70 kilometers an hour, about 43 miles an hour, but that's in the top mode, and I'll chat more about modes in a second as well. It weighs about 95 kilograms, so it's a bit lighter than the previous models, although still reasonably heavy. Wheels, again, slightly bigger wheels than we're used to seeing in scooters. Rather than a sort of 12-inch front and rear wheel, we've got 14 inches in the wheels, and they've both got disc brakes. It's up on its single kickstand here, but it has got a double kickstand, so if you want to leave it a bit longer or be a bit more secure about it, you can put the extra one down and just rock it back and it'll sit like that. As you'd expect from an electric vehicle that's trying to conserve power, all the lights are LED. The front one is, I think it's got a width of 270 degrees, a big wide angle, so it's lighting up that whole road. That said, you know, this is still an urban vehicle, so it's not really designed for doing, you know, long unlit dark country roads in the middle of winter. It is a vehicle that's designed for the urban environment, which should be reasonably well lit. You have the choice of three riding modes. At the top end you've got sport mode, and that seems to be what most people use. That gives you your maximum speed, your 43 miles per hour, 70 kilometers per hour, and your maximum acceleration. But obviously it's going to affect your range, although it doesn't seem to affect the range that much from what I've heard from people that I've spoken to who've been using these scooters a few times. The default setting, what it's on when you initially turn it on, is dynamic. That's probably what you're going to use most of the time when you're nipping around town. It's got a maximum speed of 28 to 29 miles per hour, a bit less acceleration, but still enough to weave your way through traffic, and gives you the best range out of the vehicle. The final range you can choose is eSave. Now, eSave is going to give you the maximum range, however it gives you next to no acceleration, which doesn't really matter because the top speed you can reach is only 16 miles an hour anyway. There is a function of this vehicle which I suppose is a safety function, but I'm not that keen on it. When the battery power drops to about 10%, it will automatically turn on eSave mode, and that's to try and limp you home. The problem is you can't override it. So if you are 2 miles from home with 10% battery left, which is more than enough to get you home, you cannot have it on anything but eSave. So you're forced to ride home at 16 miles an hour, which actually in traffic, if the traffic's doing 30 or even 40 miles an hour, that's actually quite dangerous to be going that slow. So that is the one drawback of the modes, is the fact that you are forced at low battery powers to ride at 16 miles an hour maximum, which yeah, I don't like that much. to turn this on, the first thing you've got to do, like most motorbikes and scooters to be honest, is make sure the kickstand is up, otherwise it won't start. Good safety feature. And then the start button is a little green button down here for your right thumb. You press that in and then you'll see ready in green on your display, and then you're off. Now when it comes to controls, it's pretty straightforward for those who might be new to scooters or motorbikes. Your right hand, by twisting your right hand like that, that gives you faster or slower on the throttle. You've then got a brake for your right hand as well. And then this plus minus button for your right thumb is what toggles you up and down the different modes from e-safe to dynamic to sport. Below that is your hazard warning lights, and below that is the green button that makes it start. And then your left hand, twisting your left hand does absolutely nothing. You've got a left brake there as well for the rear brake. Below that is your indicators, and below that is a red button which is your horn. And then next to that is a grey button which, believe it or not, is actually a cruise control. Not sure how essential cruise control is on a scooter. The turning circle on these things are really good. I'm quite impressed actually, even more so than most motorbikes I've ridden, that the turning circle on this little scooter is fantastic. And that's just one of the many things that lends itself to its main purpose. You know, it is an urban commuting vehicle. You know, it's not built for speed, it's not built for long range, it's built for nipping around towns and cities on a commute. The acceleration from standing is pretty decent for a scooter. Bear in mind it's electric, so it benefits from that instant torque that you get with every electric vehicle. It loses a bit in the power curve when it comes to the upper speeds, especially in dynamic mode. We're in the high 20s. You're not going from 25 to 28 in a particularly quickly. However, what's nice is that if you're holding that 28 miles an hour in the dynamic mode, it will hold that even on steep hills. Whereas some 125 scooters can start losing a lot of power when the ground starts getting a bit steeper. The brakes are a lot sharper than I was expecting, and actually a lot sharper than I'd like for a vehicle that's this kind of, you know, soft on the acceleration and really slow. Now I've not changed the regen settings on the bike, and I've got to say I'm not feeling much regen. I'm used to, on a motorbike, even a combustion engine one, some engine braking, and the electric ones I've ridden have got some decent regen on them, which feels just like engine braking. This scooter, however, when I come off the throttle, I don't feel much regen, and on the downhills either. The LCD screen is good. It's very good. It's probably one of the best I've seen. Very clear. You know, and there's plenty of information on there. They're not wasting space, which is nice. And it's big, easy to see. In fact, your speed is massive, as is, and it's pretty clear. The LCD screen is clear. The speed is really prominent, so you've got no excuse for claiming that you were doing over the speed limit. It's got a visual display of the amount of power left in the batteries, each individual batteries. It's also got a percentage, which is nice and handy when you try to work out if you're going to make it home or not. So let's just front up to sport mode. Yep, there we go. And it's got a bit of acceleration there. I mean, it's not amazing. Definitely enough acceleration for nipping in and out of traffic. Just be aware though, obviously, when you're filtering through busy traffic, that people are not going to hear you coming. It is very silent. You know, I'm used to riding electric motorbikes, but there's still a bit of noise there. This thing is very, very, very quiet. However, if you can hear that, that is the indicator. It's a bit twangy. it's not the nicest sound in the world, and I can see that maybe getting a little bit annoying after a while. The scooter's power output is 3.1 kilowatts, which doesn't sound a great deal, but you've got to bear in mind this is not a vehicle built for towing or for top speed or for acceleration. It is an urban commuting vehicle, and that 3.1 kilowatts translates into about 4 or 5 brake horsepower, which is more than you need really for the purposes of this vehicle. And that power comes from via a Bosch unit, which is under the seat here, and the power comes from two 35 amp hour batteries. One is here, and so you turn the key fully anti-clockwise and this pops up. There we go, and that's the first battery in there. And the second battery I access by putting the key in here and turning it that way, and if I lift up that, then the second battery is in there. Now, both these batteries are removable, which is really nice. You can plug directly into here and charge both batteries in situ, or what you can do is unplug them and pull both batteries out and take it in with you. So, you know, if you want to charge these at the office, in your home, if you live in a flat, the fact you can remove these batteries makes life so much easier. But it doesn't charge that fast. There's no fast charging or rapid charging. You just plug the batteries into a 3-pin domestic plug, or a 2-pin domestic plug if you're in Europe or North America, which is very convenient, but it does take about 4 or 5 hours to charge from completely flat. Now, the way the power from this scooter works is you don't drain one battery then the next. It drains power from each battery equally simultaneously. But also what's handy is you can run off one battery. So obviously that's going to affect your range, probably half it, I would imagine. But what means you can do is that you can take one battery out, which gives you either more storage space under the seat, but also allows you to charge one while using the scooter. So potentially you might be, if you're using this as a delivery vehicle, doing like little short, like 3, 4, 5 mile deliveries, you could have one charging back at the office or back at home. You're out doing your deliveries, come back, swap batteries, and you're out again. So that's quite a handy little feature of having these two batteries. You've got a little bit of storage space here. There is a nice little handy cubby hole there for your phone and your wallet and that sort of thing. Smartly next to the USB charger as well for your phone or whatever, or your extra sat nav system. And then just below the charger is a little pop-out hook. The theory of that is you can sit here and then hang your bag of shopping and hold it between your feet. Although it's not quite as secure as I'd like to be carrying luggage on a motorbike. However, what's handy is there's a big seat at the back for a passenger, and these little pop-out pegs either side, so your passenger gets their own foot pegs. And what I really like here is a good big sturdy handrail at the back for your passenger to hold on to. You know, I very seldom am a passenger on a motorbike, but some of the motorbikes these days have got tiny little handles to hang on to, and if you're doing 70 miles an hour on the back of a motorbike, you want something to hang on to. So I like that feature as well when you're nipping around town from a safety point of view. We're used to seeing lots of new cool tech being integrated into electric vehicles, and this scooter is no exception. And it might have something to do with the fact that one of the founding partners was an ex-Microsoft executive. But what it's got Bluetooth interaction with your phone, with an app you can download for free. That means you can talk and get information from the scooter itself. And it's got, I mean, a fairly substantial range of stuff. So, for example, the battery stuff, they'll tell you the battery level, the estimated range, which admittedly you can see on the screen here as well, but that means if you're at home or in the office, you just want to check on your battery levels, you can do that on your phone. How much is used, the cycles it gives you battery health, all that sort of stuff. It'll also give you information on your past routes and your past performances and that sort of stuff as far as your efficiency goes. So it's got the GPS there, it's got ride statistics and all that sort of bits and bobs. But also what's nice is you can find your your scooter really easily using the app if you've parked it somewhere you can't quite remember, and also turn it on so if it's in a dark place, dark alley, dark car park, you can turn it on, it'll light up so you can find it, and also it'll light the surrounding area and it might make you feel a little bit safer. And that ability to find the scooter using the app is also handy as an anti-theft device. Now it's got an alarm, which means if it's sort of moved, that alarm will go off, but also it will warn your phone and you can see that somebody's moved your scooter on the app, and then wherever it's moved to, it will show up on your app as well. So if somebody nicks your scooter, you can track them using the app. And there's a lot more stuff than that, but it's it's quite a cool little bit of kit, that. Most importantly, what's it like to ride? Surprisingly, I'm quite enjoying myself. I genuinely didn't think I would. I mean, first off, the riding style is not what I'm used to. You know, I kept wanting to hang my legs over the side, and I felt initially a little bit sort of closed up with them in front of me there. But actually, it's quite nice. It's the seat. I have to say, this seat is super comfortable. They should make touring motorbike seats out of this stuff. Oh, the other thing I should point out is the brakes. The brakes are very good, almost too good at the start. I think the companies say that it will stop you within half the distance of a normal scooter will brake in. They take a little bit of getting used to. They are quite sharp. You've got to watch that. They're quite tight at the start, but once you get used to it, you should be fine. But if you are using it in very wet weather, just be a little bit careful of the brakes, that your back wheel doesn't lock up and skid, because they are pretty impressive hydraulic disc brakes front and rear. I can see why this scooter has become the best selling scooter in the world. It has that perfect mix of enough speed for urban commuting, enough range for even the longest urban commute, easy to charge because you can take those two batteries anywhere, up to your top floor flat, into the office, doesn't matter. And it's got the manoeuvrability, the turning circle, the nippiness that you want for weaving out of traffic and making sort of quick decisions on the go. So yeah, as sort of a second car, for an urban commuting vehicle or urban deliveries, those last few miles you might find in towns and cities, this sort of thing is pretty perfect. And to finish, it's a big thank you to all our Patreon supporters and YouTube members, without whose support episodes like this would not be possible. If that's something you're interested in, then please take a look at the links below. Of course, you can also support the channel just by liking and subscribing to us. That'd be much appreciated too. And apart from that, as always, if you have been, thanks for watching.